I don't usually tell this story because even now, it sounds unreal. But listen, if you've ever worked inside a house like that, you know exactly what I mean. The kind of house where everything is quiet, but the quiet feels expensive. Where the floors shine and the smiles shine too, and somehow you still feel cold. Years ago, I worked for Ethan and Margaret Hale. To the outside world, they were perfect. Ethan Hale was flawless, not just handsome, not just successful, perfect in a way that made people trust him before they even realized they were doing it. He held doors open. He said please and thank you. He asked how my day was and waited for the answer. And I remember thinking, wow, he's different. Margaret. Margaret was not. Everyone called her Margaret, but when she whispered, she called herself Maggie. Maggie was beautiful. Yes, but tense, like her shoulders never fully relaxed, like she was always bracing for impact. At first I told myself, she's just a rich woman who doesn't know how to be happy. I've seen that before. But then I noticed the small things, and that's always how it starts. Small things. The first thing I noticed was Maggie's hands, not her rings, not her nails, her hands. They shook sometimes, not all the time, just enough to make you wonder, has she always been like this? When she spoke, she would stop mid-sentence, as if she'd forgotten what she was allowed to say. Sometimes she'd look at me, like she wanted to confess something, then she'd blink, smile, and walk away. And Ethan watched her do it, not with concern, with patience, that calm, practiced patience, like he'd seen it 1,000 times and already knew how the story ended. In that house, there were rules. No one wrote them down. No one said them out loud, but you felt them. Rule 1, don't ask questions. Rule 2, don't repeat what you hear. Rule 3, if something makes you uncomfortable, pretend it doesn't. And I was good at that. I was really good at being invisible. Until one afternoon, Maggie asked me a question, a normal question, but in that house, it wasn't normal. She said, Clara, do you think people can be trained? I laughed a little. I thought she was joking, but she didn't smile. She stared at the window, like the glass was showing her a life she didn't have anymore, and she repeated it softly. Trained, like she was tasting the word. I didn't know what to say, so I said something safe. I don't know, maybe. People get used to things, I guess. She nodded, like that was the answer she expected. Then she whispered, that's what Ethan says. And before I could ask anything, she turned and left the room. And I stood there thinking, that didn't sound like a joke. That same week, I noticed the pills. I'm not proud of this, okay? I'm really not. But when you live inside someone's routine, you start seeing patterns every morning. Maggie took 2 pills with her coffee every night, one more, and every single time. Ethan watched her, not like a husband worried about his wife, like a manager watching an employee follow instructions. One morning, Maggie didn't take them. She held the pills in her palm, stared at them, and her hand started shaking. Her eyes filled with tears, like she was about to do something dangerous. Then Ethan walked in, and his voice didn't change at all. He said, sweetheart. And the way he said it sounded kind, but it landed like pressure. He closed her fingers round the pills, kissed her forehead, and smiled. And Maggie swallowed them just like that. Afterward, She looked at me, and I swear she looked like someone who had just lost a fight but didn't remember agreeing to it. That night, I was cleaning the hallway outside Ethan's office. The door was closed and I heard them talking, not yelling, not screaming, that careful tone people use when the truth is dangerous. Maggie said, I can't do this anymore. And Ethan answered, yes, you can. Pause. Then he added, you just need to take what your doctor prescribed. Maggie said, my doctor? Her voice got thin. My doctor never said that. Silence, and then Ethan said, colder now. Don't start. And Maggie went quiet, and I stood there, cloth in my hand, heart pounding, thinking, this isn't a marriage, this is control. The next day, Maggie avoided me, like she regretted letting me hear the truth, but something else happened. A woman showed up at the door, mid-30s, well-dressed, but not rich-dressed. She looked nervous. When Ethan opened the door, she froze. Then she said his name. Ethan, not Mr. Hale, just Ethan. He smiled, that perfect smile, and stepped outside, closing the door behind him. I couldn't hear everything, but I saw her face, tight, desperate. Like she wasn't asking for money, she was asking for honesty. Then Ethan put his hand on her shoulder, said something, and she flinched, and my chest got hot, because only fear or history does that to a grown woman. After she left, Ethan came back inside, and for the first time, he looked directly at me, not past me, at me. He said, everything okay, Clara? Friendly, normal, but his eyes said, I saw you watching, and I smiled, like I didn't understand, because that's the job. That night, Maggie didn't come down for dinner. Ethan ate alone, scrolled on his phone. Then he called her name, softly. When she didn't answer, he wasn't worried. He was annoyed. Minutes later, I heard a sound, not a scream, a muffled sob, and I stood in the kitchen thinking, this house is holding its breath. The next morning, I found something, a prescription slip tucked under the trash bag. I didn't mean to read it, but the doctor's name was familiar because I'd seen it before on mail addressed to Ethan, and I thought, why would Maggie's doctor write to him? I unfolded the paper. The patient name wasn't hers, it was Ethan Hale, and my heart started racing because Maggie had said, my doctor never said that, and suddenly everything clicked, not dramatically, just horribly clearly. That afternoon, I watched carefully. Ethan handed Maggie pills from his pocket, not from her bottle. I watched him stand between her and the door when visitors came, finish her sentences, laugh when she looked confused, and I realized he wasn't treating her like someone sick. He was making her sick. I'm not a hero. I'm a woman with bills. I know what happens when you accuse a powerful man without proof. So I didn't confront him. I gathered evidence. One afternoon, while Ethan was out, I went into the master bathroom. In the cabinet, 2 bottles. Same pills, same dosage, different names. Maggie's label was old, fading, reused. That's when my mouth went dry. I took a photo. My hands were shaking so bad, I almost dropped my phone. Then I heard footsteps. It was Maggie. She looked at the cabinet, then at me. No anger, relief. She whispered, you found it. And I said the truth. I think Ethan is drugging you. She nodded. Then she said, he tells me I forget things because I'm sick. Pause. But sometimes I forget things because of the pills. I repeated it. Because of the pills. Like saying it made it real. That night, Ethan was perfect again. dinner, wine, smiles. But when his eyes weren't on Maggie, she looked at me. The look said, "Help me." So we made a plan, a simple one. She gave me her sister's name, Laura, and she whispered, "I haven't talked to her in a year." Pause. "Ethan said she was bad for me." Of course he did. I mailed the note, no signature, just the photo. And one sentence, "Please come. She needs you. Don't call first." 2 days later, Laura arrived. She didn't walk softly. She walked like someone carrying the truth. When Ethan opened the door, his smile appeared right on time. Laura said, "I'm here to see my sister. Now." For the first time. Ethan hesitated. Maggie came down the stairs and saw Laura and almost collapsed. Ethan reached for her. Laura snapped, "Don't touch her." Silence. Then Laura said, "No, I know about the medication." And Ethan looked at me just once. The ending wasn't tragic, it was real. Laura had already contacted an attorney. An independent doctor confirmed it. Maggie wasn't unstable. She was being sedated, controlled. Accounts were frozen. Auditors got involved. And suddenly, Ethan stopped being perfect. He left quietly, no fight, just gone. Maggie got help, real help. She started remembering. And one day she said to me, "I thought I was the problem." Pause. But I wasn't. And I said, "No, you weren't." So if you ever find yourself inside a house that looks perfect, listen, because sometimes the truth doesn't scream. Sometimes it whispers, and sometimes it whispers to the person everyone forgets is listening. If this story stayed with you, stay with me. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and tell me in the comments what you felt.